Hi, everybody, and welcome to Powerful Sex Magic for New Beginnings. I wanted to offer this hour, first of all, to say thank you to all of you who have bought the new edition of Urban Tantra. I really, really appreciate your support. I know a lot of you have the first version, which is why you bought the second, and I'm deeply grateful and appreciative of your continuing to take the journey with the Urban Tantra community, because that's really what the second edition's about, is to look at how far we've come, look at what's new, and also to cast a vision for the future of what we can do with the work, both personally and planetarily, if you will, and more about that in a moment. Whether January and 2018 or the beginning of the calendar year is your year, or whether you count time based on another kind of calendar, the cultural pressure is so strong that most of us at least think about things that we want to begin or to change around the start of a Western calendar year. Conversely, some of us also go into a kind of anger. I have felt that one. Disillusionment, hopelessness, feeling what's the point in change, or feeling pressure to change when you're not really ready yet. So there's both a hopefulness and a oh fuck. And given the fact that the news alerts on your phone will scare the crap out of you on an hourly basis if you let it, it's really possible that you're going like, what's the point of even trying to make a change? The world could blow up tomorrow. So whether you're on the, oh wow, 2018 is going to be the best year I've ever had, or whatever, I'm hoping to give you some inspiration and some tools to feeling more empowered. Whether you want to make a change now, whether you don't want to make a change for a few months, whether you're waiting for spring, just ways to walk through the world, making changes of whatever size and whatever increment is right for you, and doing it in a way that's really gratifying and also effective. As some of you know, those of you who I've worked with or who have read stuff I've written before, my introduction to sex magic really was not called sex magic. It was just part of the intentional community created by Louise Hay. For me, when I met Louise, it was the 1980s. And Louise Hay is the author of You Can Heal Your Life and the grandmother of affirmations, I guess we could call her. And she used to very simply say, send love out to anything in the world or in your life you wish to change or to grow. Just send love ahead of you, even on a daily basis to a meeting that you're about to go into or whatever. And I took that another step further. I had so much fun sending love to causes and people that needed healing or things that I wanted for myself, that I decided, wow, if all this heart-centered love is so effective, what if I sent orgasms? That would be even better. And I laughingly call that the day I invented sex magic. Because at the time, that's kind of what it felt like. Oh my God, does anybody know about this? Yes, Barbara, for hundreds of thousands of years, we've known about this, but congratulations on inventing it for yourself. It was the effect on my life and in my life from learning how to set intentions properly and how to direct energy toward those intentions really did change my life. Today, I want to offer a slightly different take on the whole sex magic thing. I think sex magic, especially of the kind I'd like to talk about today, could be called orgasmic prayer. It could be called an erotic meditation. And it could also be called an embodied affirmation. I'm liking the term embodied affirmation right now. In the time before Louise Hay passed away in August, as some or all of you may know, and in the time before she died, Louise and I had started to converse about thought and action, not thought versus action, but where the two come together, what we think and what we do. And also thought and feeling. Because when we want to create something in our lives, and by in our lives, I mean that very broadly, in our greater reality, be it a cause close to us or more planetary, the most effective kinds of affirmations, of positive thinking, of good intentions, come with a passionate feeling like, I am so motivated to do this. When I think of the potential outcome of how good this is going to be, I get so jazzed. Yet, when we first have a nugget of an idea of something we want to change, let's say it's our health. Let's say we're not feeling very well, or maybe we're even coping with a serious illness. It can be really hard to think in that jazzy, wow, is this going to be great kind of way. We just would like things to get a little bit better. I think even politically, a lot of people are in that space. It's very hard for many people to get jazzed about what's going on or even the potential of what could happen with many of our governments around the world. So it's hard to get, yeah, wow, I'd really like to get behind this. We would just like to survive another day. So in that case, what can you do to feel more empowered? Well, my take on it is we have to let ourselves feel more embodied. I've been inspired by a couple of conversations I've had in the past month with people who report feeling dissociated from their bodies or their feelings. We're in human form. You know the old phrase, spiritual beings having a human experience? Sometimes I think we forget the human part and we cut off the feeling part because at some point, whether it was long ago or just yesterday, it became too scary or too painful to feel. And that really saved us. That was really super helpful and important and even life-saving for a while at some point in our lives. But at some point, it becomes what's holding us back. Because if we can't feel the infinite, vast, positive possibilities of something, it's very hard to make them happen. We can say, I am living a loving, prosperous life, all we want, but if there's no real emotion or body-centered feeling around it, we're missing part of the magic. So sex magic as an embodied affirmation brings us back to our bodies in a pleasurable, even ecstatic way. It's why I'm so fond of using orgasm and erotic energy to fuel, to back up, to empower my intentions. And I've learned that, although it sounds in the phrase sex magic, that sex is the big part. In fact, sex is not it is a big part, but it's not the complicated part. Sex can be whatever sex means to you. It can mean partner sex. It can mean masturbation, which frankly is my favorite way of using sex magic because it allows me to focus completely on my intention. But it can be BDSM, it can be Tantra, it can be fucking, it can be erotic meditation, it can be anything. It's not terribly complicated to raise sexual energy. Most of us know how to do that one way or another. What can be more complicated is creating the intention. Recently, as those who have been in workshop rooms with me recently know, recently I have found that my intentions have gotten more complex, whether they're for myself or for others, like people who are ill perhaps, or for political situations around the world. And when I have a complex intention, it's different from when I have a simple intention. Let's just say, a simple intention. I'm going to raise some erotic energy with my vibrator to clear my head because I have a cold. Well, with that as an intention, I have a pretty clear idea of what it felt like 3 days ago when my nose was clear. I can get that memory up pretty quickly. So it's not a hard intention to hold. However, if I'm sending healing energy to a friend with cancer, it's much easier for me to see them as they are now, which is weak, pale, sunken cheeked, without hair, and to send energy to that, which I don't want to do. It takes me a moment longer to go, yes, let's think back a year when they were skiing and riding horses and swimming, and we were laughing and having a glass of wine and eating whatever we wanted and laughing hysterically. That's the vision I want to have, because that's what I want to create. And the key to any kind of magic, sex magic, no exception, is to have a really clear intention of what we want to create. The nice thing is that sex magic, because it feels good, sex magic helps me create the vision I want to have. So if I can get my picture in my mind of my healthy friend, and then I raise erotic energy, orgasmic energy, and go into meditation afterwards, it's much easier for me to hold the vision of my healthy friend. Because I now feel good, I can imagine her feeling good. Whereas before, I was only using the power of my thought mind. I could visually get her feeling healthy, but now I feel it too. And the more I can embed in my body what it feels like to have my vision, when my friend's health feels embodied to me, it actually manages to create opportunities in my life for me to help her become more healthy. Elise, do you remember what this is called? It's or does anyone? It's fleeing my mind, but it's the thing where if you buy a Volvo, every car on the road is suddenly a Volvo. What's that called? Anybody? Anyway, you know what I mean. You buy a Volkswagen, every car on the road's a Volkswagen. So if every thought you have is about health for your friend with cancer and seeing them healthy, you will undoubtedly create numerous opportunities, not only to help your friend, as well. Suddenly someone will ask you to support a fundraiser, or maybe you'll get a piece of email that suggests a way that you can be helpful, or maybe you'll stumble across a healing herbal remedy to offset treatment reactions, whatever. So this other part of holding on to that healthy vision for me is when things get truly complicated, or when I have trouble fully seeing what it is I want. Like maybe I want to create some new aspect of my business or new job. And I have a decent idea of what I want that to look like, but it's kind of vague, and I certainly can't feel it. if I can make a list of some qualities I want my job to have or my project to have, certainly what I want it to do for the world or for the client, yes, but also how do I want to feel when this is going on? I might want to feel more prosperous. That's often why we create something. That's great. I want to feel, what else do I want to feel? So I'm more prosperous. What does that do for me? What would that mean? Would it mean I could go to a beautiful place on a vacation? Would it mean I could buy that new pair of shoes I want? How would I feel emotionally if I had that thing? Would I feel, oh my God, this is so good. I'm helping all these people. Everybody's making such progress. We're having so many good laughs along the way. That's a piece of it. But usually there's some piece I can't get my body around. So if I can be as complete as I can in my vision, usually on paper, and if it feels a little vague and nefarious and it's hard to imagine sending energy to that, I will create a symbol. A symbol that, the simplest symbol possible. A circle, a peace sign, an infinity sign, a dollar sign, something that the reptilian brain goes, oh yeah, I know what that means. And I put all my intentions in that symbol so that when I'm doing my sex magic, which I'll explain the simple step of that in just a second. When I'm doing my sex magic, I'm hanging on, all I need to do is flash on my symbol to hold my intention. And everything I have created about my intention previously is in that symbol. I don't have to worry about the details. I don't have to worry about negative thoughts. It's all in the symbol. Once I have my symbol, all I need to do is I might put it in my body somewhere. I might just visualize it for a moment and release it. And then I focus on raising the orgasmic energy and just sending it to that cause, that symbol, that intention. It's really very, very simple. You don't need to do anything fancy. People often ask, well, do I hold my symbol in my mind while I orgasm? Well, yes, if that works for you. Do I have to flash on my symbol ever again? You might, or you might not. It's really all about clarity of intention. How you do your magic is a little less important than how well you've set up your intention. Two thoughts just came in like that and canceled each other out. Don't you love it when that happens? Oh, that's the thought that won. The one thing I do want to bring up before we go a whole lot further is ethics. Ethics and magic. I sometimes get questions from people that are, how can I make my partner do this, that, and the other thing? Be more interested in this, that, and the other thing. How can I use sex magic to change them? Well, you can't. And even if you could, you shouldn't, because it never works and usually comes back to bite you in the butt. It's not ethical and it's not even very effective. People really determine their own fate. You can only change your life. The nice thing about that is all the power is in your present moment. And you can create anything you want for you. And if your partner really doesn't want to change, you might create yourself a new partner. But we do our magic for ourselves. And one thing to which people will then say, well, if you're doing magic to improve conditions in Syria or in some other ravaged part of the world, aren't you messing with their reality? To which I would say, at the end of my intention, I would add, for the highest good of all concerned. And then I would let the universe figure out what that was. I'm just sending them healing energy. They get to decide how they heal with it. For the highest good of all concerned. Because I can't possibly know, even my friend, the cancer patient, I might think I know what's best for her, but I don't. But I can send her the intention of healing. She gets to decide what healing looks like, including leaving the planet healed. So those two important bits about doing anything we might call magic or orgasmic prayer or embodied affirmations. You can really only decide for yourself what form that's going to take. And even then, something greater than you may take over. Oh, thank you, Elise. The Bader-Meinhof phenomenon. That's it. Thank you. I'm notoriously bad at reading the comments in the chat. I'm looking at your faces. I'm like, I don't read while I'm talking, it seems. This or better. Yes, this or better. Thank you, Heather. Exactly. Oh, good point, Heather, because the universe is infinite and our human thoughts are not so expansive. It takes me back to another thing that my favorite work of Louise's was on the totality of possibilities, that there is an infinitely vaster range of possibilities for us and for everything else than we are able of comprehending while we're in human form. And one of the most powerful parts of embodied affirmations or sex magic is tapping in to those infinite possibilities. Before I turn it over to some of the things you'd like to talk about or how you might like to use this in your work or life, that thought just fled. So it must be, somebody must have a question, because whatever I was going to say just flew. Anybody have an example of something they're working on, or that somebody they know is working on, something that you'd like to hear this principle applied to specifically?
Yeah, and if you want to jump in, you can just go ahead and unmute yourself. If you can't figure out how to unmute yourself, you can just let me know in the chat and I will unmute you for you. And if you're on the phone and you find that you're muted and you want to speak, you can just press *6 and that will unmute you.
Hello.
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So Heather's unmuted.
Hi, Heather.
Hi. It's been a long time since I've enjoyed our time with you in New York, and congratulations on all of the amazing, infinite possibilities that you've created for so many people in so many ways,
Heather,
all over the world. It's just wonderful, the gifts that you bring to all of us. So my question is, I haven't dated in a long time, or ever really, and I would like to create, an amazing and wonderful male partner, and someone who would be familiar or would like to engage in sex magic and BDSM and orgasmic ecstasy, and be interested in that path, or somewhat at least familiar and or not totally freaked out by it, and or my background in the whole erotic realm. I've gotten misinterpreted who I am. I'm actually really quite shy, and even though I'm also in a spiritual sex and love coach, men seem to misinterpret who I am, and then they see the photography, the Earth Erotica, and think I just want to fuck all the time, and they don't see me or who I am. So how do I come out in a way where I can really build and create a really wonderful, loving, rewarding life partner, progressive life partnership with someone I is?
Okay. First of all, I just want to shout out that Heather is the most amazing erotic nature photographer. So when we finish this question, she'll give you the website, because you do want to see her work. Let's start with not how they see you, but how you see them. I'm going to suggest that you make two lists. One list is what you want, the qualities you want in a partner, the person, the guy. And the second list, and it's separate, is what you want in the relationship. I think sometimes when the relationship and the person get conflated, things get less specific, less clear.
Can you example that?
Okay, I want somebody with a great sense of humor. I want somebody who loves nature and the outdoors and wants to go with me on my, or nature and the outdoors. I want someone who can support himself. I want someone who, is into kink. Someone who has in touch with their spiritual side, that whatever, like that.
Okay.
The relationship. I want a relationship where we live together or live apart. I want to see this person every day, every 3 weeks, whatever. The main quality I want in this relationship is support, eroticism, fun, adventure, travel, whichever. So this is the relationship and this is the person. So, because often we do manifest the person that we thought we wanted, but they're not interested in having the relationship we want. So this is a good case for the symbol. It could be a heart for this kind of situation. It can be any symbol you want. People in my professional training program have created some of the most fabulous symbols. I want half of them tattooed on my body, but you don't have to. It can be something as simple as a heart. And you imagine putting the person in the relationship in there, because you see how they're kind of different. It's like,
yes,
this person might be perfect, but do they want to do what you want to do in relationship? And time is short. So let's put it all in together. Similarly, if you're looking for a job, this is what I want my work life to feel like. This is where I would like that job to be. Or this, they're different. But if it will save time if we could get both at the same time. And then imagine the places where those people might show up, which will help, because I think one of the most significant parts of putting energy into sex magic, embodied affirmation, is we get to, with our human limited brain, figure out what we think we want, put it in our symbol, raise energy, and after orgasm, or I'm saying orgasm, but whatever your peak is, it could be a breath orgasm, it could be a genital orgasm, it could be anything. After you've raised the energy, there's time to just do nothing and meditate. And you've given the universe the vision. Let the universe now give you the vision. Visions are in two parts, or more than two, but one is the visions we create. The others are the visions we receive. Give the universe a little time to give you some answers or some insights or some instincts. And you might, I think that's the moments when okay, we finished our sex magic meditation for today. Later on, we're surfing the web and we see, oh my God, look at that. Southwest Leather Conference is coming up in 2 weeks, and that's where all the spiritual kinky people hang out. Hey, what am I doing that week? Southwest Leather Conference, tip. And it is like a week and a half.
It is?
In Phoenix. And that's where all the spiritually minded kinky people hang out. Maybe I'll check that out. That kind of thing. I just thought I'd let you know about that.
Thanks, girlfriend.
Your sex magic is beginning to work, perhaps. But you know what I mean? And then look and see what other opportunities manifest themselves. But get clear on what you want first. Because let me give you a really kind of plebeian example. If we're not really clear about what we want, imagine you're looking for like an apartment and a real estate agent's helping you. And you tell them what you want, but you don't really have a list. You just got to give them an idea. And they take you to whatever's on the market that they think they might be able to sell you. And you suddenly walk into this apartment and it's nothing like what was on your list, but you don't have your list with you, and you're just looking at what is there. Now, never mind, you don't need any of the fancy things in this apartment. and that it doesn't have much of what's on your list. It appears really cool, but it's not what you were looking for.
Mm-hmm.
But they could convince you to take it by saying, we'll knock $300 a month off and whatever. And suddenly you go, well, this will work. And you go home and go, what was I thinking? It won't work. It's too dark. It's nowhere near my job. I don't need the skylight. I needed a laundry room. Whatever. Whatever. It's the same with relationships, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially if there's, I know there's some instances where there's high attraction, but the room's too dark. It's in the basement. There's no.
And the thing is, you could run into a great person and realize that, because you've got the relationship list, this isn't going to match up, but we could have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
We could have a good time for as long as it lasts, but I'm not going to, the relationship part isn't being met yet. I need him to do more work.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I can't have fun in the meantime.
Right. Good.
Great question. And obviously applicable to other aspects of life, that other things we're looking for.
Yes, and what? I only just got the second edition of the Urban Tantra, and I have to say I'm so sorry I didn't get your first one when it first came out. So now I'm very much looking forward to spending a lot of orgasmic time, ecstatic time with you. In that
That's regard. Great. And tell them your website, please. Tell us your website.
Oh, the photography. Sorry, it's that kind of antique now, but the website is called eartherotica.com.
Check it out. It's really pretty work.
Sexy Earth Pictures, eartherotica.com. Thanks, Barbara. I wasn't planning on that.
Lisa has a question. What if you're not sure of what you want? If you don't want to jump on camera, that's fine. Just use the chat, Lisa. But do you have a ballpark of what you want? Oh, see. No. If you have absolutely no idea what you want, you're probably not going to get it. I can't be of more help than that. You can start small, but it's really that simple. I want a better life is going to get you garbage. Because the universe doesn't know what that looks like. So really start small. I'd like to feel better when I wake up in the morning. I'd like to laugh more, that sort of thing. Just start small and practice on small things. I mean, orgasms are good things right there. So you can just have orgasms aimed at small things. Still having more orgasms, so all is well. Oh, Megan, yep, I'm ready for a question.
Okay, it was really interesting when you basically said something came up. I was thinking, and my heart started, and it's pounding right now. And I'm just, I'm so new to Tantra. I'm so new to all of this. It's been such an incredible journey. I went to 1 3-hour class. I was living in Melbourne at the time, and then a month later, found myself in ISTA level 1, and I've since quit my job, moved back to the United States, and I want to become a relationship coach.
Cool.
And in all of this, I came home to accomplish my goals. I'm a very goal-oriented person, and my goal was to find a man because I want to have children and I want a partner. And I sent this question, and my heart is pounding. I fell in love with my best friend, and we've been best friends since we were 13, and we do everything together. And as soon as we came back together, it was just like there was no denying that we were perfect for each other.
Okay.
But it took him a long time to become sexually active. And even now, he's finding it still a bit difficult. So I'm wondering what kind of things I can do to sort of support him. And I know he's a bit I'm quite sexually adventurous and active, and he's a relationship type of person. And so I think he's a bit freaked out by that, that I want to try all these different things, and I want to bring him into Tantra, and I want to do all this. But I'm just not sure how to make him feel more comfortable, because I know it's not something I'm doing. I know it's in his head and that he's freaking himself out, but I'm just wondering what kind of sex magic I can do to help.
All right. I'm not sure the sex magic is absolutely okay. Two thoughts come to mind. One is ask lots of questions. What seems like does this sound like it might be fun?
Yeah.
Does this sound and obviously pick something that we start small, like spanking or something, does that sound at all fun?
Yeah.
Or like what would be a something without divulging anything? Where could you start without, outing him in any way?
Well, it's been interesting. I mean, I was just playing with his nipples, and he's so sensitive, and he had no idea.
Great. Here's what I think is happening, by the way. I think you just asked to be a sex and relationship coach. Look what you just manifested.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's grad school.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So that's what you do. You said you take this not as a relationship issue, but as the universe answering your deepest desire, which is how do shy, scared, possibly shamed in the past people find their way to bliss.
Yeah.
And what you work on sex magic wise is your dream of helping everybody like him and others beyond that to feel what you have begun to discover.
Yeah.
That's what you do sex magic for. The trick is not to go explain sex magic to him and go, honey, look what I discovered. Let's do it tonight. Let's eye gaze. Okay, now what's our intention? Talk about, shoving somebody backwards a year, but really, look, what if you were to breathe into that nipple feeling? Imagine that feeling spreading out and doing it in a playful, let's see what else we can feel kind of way, as opposed to a teacher kind of way.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, oh, that's fun. Let's try this. So everything's ha ha, laugh, feel good, fun, play. And otherwise you've got this power imbalance of you're the smart teacher, Tantra one, and I'm this dumb-oaf who can't feel anything, which tends to keep people stuck in their dumb-oafness, even though that's not true about them.
Yeah, totally.
The universe just answered your sex magic prayer.
I've never been happier in my life with the sex or without it. And
it comes in this incredibly delightful package.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
You're brilliant.
Thanks. I really appreciate that.
Keep up the good work.
Thanks.
Okay. Anybody else want to apply this to an issue? Fairy Flora, hi! Several members of the Urban Tantra Professional Training Program have jumped on this call, and I have to say, it's really good to see you. They are powerful creators in their own right and teachers. Anybody else? Anybody having, yeah, somebody is, because I'm getting this. Anybody having issues about this unrelenting, well, it's happening in Britain, it's happening in America, the unrelenting idiocy of the political scene and its unnerving impact on our lives And I know it's just not American Britain. They're just screaming the loudest at the moment. Uh, and how it's this, essential, not essential. It feels like this consistent energy drain. Like, for instance, I just ran across, let me see if I can pull it up quickly. Yeah. 9 ways the world got a whole lot better in 2017. They happen to be, there is less famine in the world. There were fewer war deaths, fewer deaths from natural disasters. There was a lot of progress against pestilence. Several deadly diseases are on the decline globally. There's a higher life expectancy worldwide. More democracy, despite the fact that it may not feel so in the United States or in Britain. Or another one, expanding rights for women and sexual minorities. Fewer people living on $2 a day. Greener energy. All those things got better. And yet many of us are feeling like the world is falling to shit. So I'm suggesting that our embodied affirmations, while they are usually and quite reasonably directed at things that are close to us, work, family, relationships, health, we also might devote a part of our practice to the world as we would like to see it. Now, it might take some scrounging around, like the little article that I just summarized, to find some bits of good news that you would like to amp the signal of. And what do I mean by amping the signal? Let's say you were drawn to, hey, life expectancy is going up around the world. Isn't that wonderful? I'm going to devote some sex magic this year, some embodied affirmations toward raising that a year by next year. It happens to be 72, I just read. By next year, at the end of 2018, I want to read that it's 73 or 74. I'm going to send orgasmic energy toward that one little goal. One of my, where I first felt the power of political long distance sex magic was, and those of you who have been in the workshop room with me have heard this, so sorry, you're hearing it again. It's the first thing I ever seriously dedicated a long-term practice to was the ending of apartheid in South Africa. I did a great job, didn't I? Kidding. But it was amazing how, with my ongoing practice of sending love and orgasms to justice for all peoples in South Africa, how much I was able to actually contribute. All sorts of real world opportunities arose that allowed me to put my muscle where my affirmation was, to do something. And tangentially, I was also able to see where I could make a hands-on difference in sometimes very small but tangible ways of the same issues locally in my world, in my country. So if you can pick just one issue that is frustrating you right now, the destruction of the environment, and notice the affirmation was that the world is actually getting greener despite what might seem to be happening on your newsfeed. One cause that you can support. In my conversations with Louise, I actually have the notebook here somewhere. I wrote down some of the things that she was, or that we shared, that we could use embodied affirmations for. And the ones that came up for us in our conversation were race, class, a more classless society, a wealthier society, a more prosperous society, sexuality and gender difference acceptance, ability, differently abled people, we all understanding that we all have different abilities and we can all live and support each other no matter what our different abilities are. Access to healthy, nutritious food, nature and the environment, and other creatures. And I was just asked actually to do a little piece on ecosexuality. That might be something that appeals to you. Just putting your attention on something. One of Louise, the things that I found most challenging that Louise offered, I think it was her, when she said, if you've got a leader in the world or in your environment that you really hate, that you just think is doing a terrible job, try sending them love instead of hate. Rather, send them positive energy, that they will do the right thing, that they will see things with a more empathetic eye and a more open heart. More challenging. But I think one of the things I have become aware of with sex magic and embodied affirmation is that it makes me more empathetic to those who I am wishing to serve, whether it's myself or my friend or the world. And I was actually able to go to a place earlier this week where I could imagine how terribly frightened and trapped Donald Trump must feel in his current job, and how unhappy. And how if he thought he could get out of it, he probably would, but he can't. So in his rage and frustration and misery, he acts out, much as a child might, or an animal might. And when I was able to look at it from that point of view, I was able to soften, get less rigid, and open up to, we're all just humans here doing the best we can. Now let's see what we can do to change things. But in that moment, I was able to get some empathy going around a situation that I was feeling very stuck and rock hard and fighting up against. I was able to move to a place where I could see things differently. I could change. And what did we say right at the top? The only thing you can change is yourself. So that's what this work is really about. We're not doing magic to change something. We are doing magic to make our reality and hopefully the reality of others better. Not by telling them what they need to do to change, but by giving them love and support and orgasms and energy and prayers, that they will find the right way to change. Right way not dictated by us. I'm looking in the comments. For the question on safer sex, please, the new book has a big section on how to do sex safely. That section's been updated. So you can just find that information there. A lot of the you just picked up your cat and my eye went hello kitty. Differently abled, I have attempted to write in the new edition of Urban Tantra. I've tried to include even more people. One of the things about the Urban Tantra community is that, well, one of the reasons I wrote the book Urban Tantra, one of the reasons I founded Urban Tantra was to have a super inclusive community. And it has been my great delight and pleasure that over the 10 years since the book first came out, almost 11 now, that our community has grown to include an insanely wonderful, diverse bunch of people, and many of whom have different abilities. And I have attempted in the writing of the second edition to offer as many adaptations to things, or to encourage people to look at how to adapt things to meet whatever their abilities are. Urban Tantra to me is not put your left leg here and your intention there and your breath there, but rather to offer that possibility and say, now make it fit you. So that's also my premise of this Sex Magic Embodied Affirmation chat coaching call, which is to say, create it so that it works for you. Things that will always help. Everything goes better with breath. That's number one. Breathe. Everything goes better with support too. If you are having trouble figuring out what you want or creating a positive version of what you want, ask a friend to help. Meet somebody for coffee. Skype is nice, but if you can meet somebody for coffee, it's usually even more productive. Again, embodied. Presume the universe is working out in your favor and in the favor of everyone else concerned. And again, ethically speaking, do your magic for the best outcome for all concerned, or this or something better for all concerned. Those are my most effective, I think, magic tips. Have I forgotten one, Elise? I don't think so. No? Okay. I check in with Elise on many things. So let's just again, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you so much for reading Urban Tantra. Thank you so much for all that you contribute to this community, whether you're a longtime active community member, and for those of you who joined me on this call, thank you and I love you. Or whether you're just somebody who read the book and believes in the philosophy. This community is large, international, and as I said, extremely diverse. Another kitty shot. Now Elise has the kitty. Did everyone bring their kitty cat to the... Yeah, they did. I don't know if all of you can see the kitty shots in the screen above, but it's pretty cute. And Elise, I'm going to throw this... Oh, who has a question?
Me, Penelope.
Hi.
I don't know how. I'm just speaking.
That's
Hi.
good.
Greetings from Ireland.
Hi.
Hi. I don't know anything about your work. I wrote. I ordered the book. I know you from being one of Betty Martin's students, and my passion is working with, I suppose, children and parents. I was a Waldorf teacher, kindergarten teacher, and preschool, and whatever. I just through that and a lot of what I see in my life as I was I suppose a musician and gigging and rock and roll life, and I saw, God, there's so much. It's so much positivity is happening with adults and this age. It really is like living up to the cliche of we're born in this generation for a reason, and you can feel the changes. And my personal passion is children, and the most vulnerable of all. I'm also I don't know if you're familiar with family constellations, so I'm really into that. And
interesting that you should bring that up. Elise is a specialist in family constellations.
Okay. So just any tips or any kind of intuition on, I mean, I have it in my head. I'd love to have an open evening for parents, like a series, say three evenings about what do you feel about this word sexuality and your child, and of course I'm thinking it's probably going to be the parents discovering themselves and their sexuality and then realize, gosh, I'm passing this on, and wow. But hopefully to move out of the shame and all the negativity and into the light of hope, and then saying, we can, there's a follow-up sessions or open meetings for just children. I mean, more like teenagers, but obviously it's applicable, especially if you have young children. Anyway, I just thought,
it sounds like you're well on your way.
Okay.
It sounds like you are well. Doesn't everybody else feel that way? It sounds like you've got something pretty well thought out. Do you have somebody that you can talk to flesh this out further?
There's loads of people that are working in various different fields. Obviously, I have a lot of colleagues in the education field. Well, it's Waldorf education, so it's a different kind of, you could call it a general holistic education. It's educating the spirit as well as the body and the mind.
Actually, if you email me after this chat, Barbara at urbantantra.org,
Okay.
I know a colleague of mine is very familiar with Waldorf education, and also just personally, and also is a powerful holistic practitioner. I just have it's Alia Cadro in San Diego, and I have a feeling the two of you might have some stuff to talk about.
Okay.
Alia's, if anybody's in the San Diego area, and Alia's website is Solstice, SOULSTICE, and she's an amazing holistic practitioner. But she has familiarity with Waldorf as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, the Waldorf is a help. It's just, there's so many people specialized in the sexual kind of realm. I have a lot of colleagues on the Tantra side as well, and it's just kind of, it's not difficult because there's not much of it out there. That's what makes it easy. But I'm an Aquarius rising, so lots of ideas, and it's just kind of,
well, if you want, it's just an option. I offer coaching, and one of the things I offer coaching on is the intersection between sexuality and work. People who use sexuality or want to use sexuality in their work or as the subject of their work. So if you go to barbaracarrellas.com and click on the coaching page, it might be something that would be helpful to you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, Elise, please tell everybody what else is coming up for us this year.
Yes, I will definitely do that. But I also noticed that Heather wrote and asked how we could give to you and what you need. And what you would love to receive. I have an idea of what you might want to receive.
What might I want to receive?
You might want to receive some very honest reviews on Amazon for the second edition of Urban Tantra.
That would be incredibly kind, and I would be very, very grateful. Amazon, when a second edition is considered a new book, so any reviews that were posted for the first edition have disappeared. So if you're enjoying Urban Tantra, if you'd like to share your enthusiasm for it, I would very much appreciate it. I believe some of you have written reviews, and they really just help people know whether the book is for them or not. We don't want people buying things that they're not going to be suited to. So it really helps people make a good decision.
Yes.
Thank you, Heather, for asking.
Yeah. Oh, what a lovely energy exchange. So we do have some really exciting things coming up in the beginning of 2018 that we just wanted to let you know about. The first is going to be a mini workshop and a book lunch party at Pleasure Chest on the Upper East Side in New York City on January 25th. We have after that in February, we have 2 workshops coming up in Philadelphia. One on Tantra Basics on February 2nd, and one on DS Tantra and Power Exchange and Sacred Sexuality on February 3rd. And then we're coming back to New York for the 13th, where Barbara's going to be teaching an anti-Valentine's Day celebration for singles and people who want to kind of tap into the soul of sex play for Valentine's Day.
The over-coupledom of Valentine's Day makes me puke. I'm just saying. It makes everybody who's not in an ideal relationship feel like crap. Let's have a holiday for that. So anyway, I'm offering an alternative on the 13th.
It's going to be fun. And then in March, we have a one-day Urban Tantra Sacred Sex for the 21st Century workshop where we do breath and energy orgasm and all kinds of fun stuff at the New York Open Center. And, you know, for the long run, Barbara mentioned the Urban Tantra Professional Training Program, and we have a couple of our graduates here. We are planning to do the next one in the U.S. At the end of kind of midsummer-ish in July. So if you're interested in that, just let me know. You can send me an email, and we'll make sure you get all the info that you need to join us.
And we're also we're planning new things right now, some virtual, some in person. So if you are on our newsletter list, you will get announcements of those things.
All of the info.
Thank you so much for joining me today. Happy 2018. Happy life. And, oh, hi, kitty. And may you and all your pussy, cats, and dogs and other familiars have a wonderful, wonderful year. Bye.
Happy New Year.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Great to see you. Bye, Elise.
Bye.
Thank you, Elise.
You're welcome.
Bye, Barbara. Love it.
Pussy.
Ecstatic here.